Caught you at a bad time, huh? All right. Injury-wise, the guys that will be listed as questionable for the game, Joe Noteboom will be questionable. He'll be limited today, but if things are, continue in the right direction, feel good about him. Jordan Fuller will not participate today. He will be listed as questionable. We'll use every day with him. He is making good progress with his ankle. Whether or not he can go or not is still to be determined, but he'll be questionable. Troy Reeder will be limited and listed as questionable. Kevin Dotson and Tyler Higbee will both be limited and listed as questionable, but don't expect those guys to be affected. I think they'll be in good shape. And then Bobby Brown was a little sick today, but hopefully he'll turn over. You guys know it's kind of that season where some stuff's going around.
With Jordan, is that one of those things where if he thinks he can go, or if you guys think he can go, he can sort of slot in more seamlessly, or is there a process that happens?
Yeah, I think so. I think ultimately I trust him and I trust Reggie and our group to be able to say, okay, physically, are we going to be able to perform at a level that is in alignment with the standards he set for himself and for, the caliber of play that he brings. But he is a guy that, because of his experience, because of his ownership, you want to give him all the time that he needs. But then I thought it was good for some other guys to get the opportunities to step up and do really well. And we'll hopefully have them. But if not, then a lot of confidence in those guys to step up.
Even without him, do you feel there are enough players now with some experience, especially you guys started moving toward some of that extra safety stuff in the year, enough experience to do the things you want to do?
Yes, yeah, that's a good thing. You obviously want Jordan to be out there, but if he is not able to go, it will not change or limit any of our packages that that we want to be able to activate against these guys. Hey, Dennis, you're a little late, man. Just kidding, man.
Sean, to that end, I guess what did you like about what Russ gave you last week, and if he potentially has to step into that role?
Yeah, Russ has a lot of experience. He played a lot of safety for us. He's done some different things in some of the underneath coverages, and he's a good, tough physical player, has a lot of range, and I thought he made some big plays coming out of the middle of the field, and then as a half-field player on two big pass breakups that would have led to absolute scoring opportunities, and you don't win that game without the plays that he made. And I think he has just gotten better and better. I think it's a really cool example of a guy that just continues to go to work, and there's been some different things that he's navigated through, but he's a mentally tough guy. He's obviously really physically tough. He's got great athleticism, and I think last week was a really good opportunity for him to be able to, build on the confidence that was earned. And if he does have to step up into a more prominent role, then we got all the confidence in the world in him.
What's your confidence level going into this game with your kicking game and punt coverage?
Yeah, I think, we've been working really hard at that, Gary. And so, you just continue to take it a day at a time. I like what I've seen up to this point, and then ultimately we've got to be able to go execute.
The narrative for when a young team reaches the playoffs is happy to be here. But you've got that trophy in the locker room. What message do you want the young players to take from that?
Look at the guys that have been in these types of situations. Trust the things that have allowed you to earn an opportunity to be even playing in this game. The stakes are higher, but you don't want to press. You don't want to change any bit of your rhythm and routine. And I think it's really settling for those guys to be able to say, hey, what is it like? There's nothing like that peer-to-peer, advice, perspective. When you look at Aaron, you look at Matthew, you look at Cooper, Tyler Higbee, Rob Havenstein, we mentioned Jordan Fuller, Ernest Jones. These guys have played in teams that have been able to win a Super Bowl. They've played in these big-time games. And there's a lot of guys that I'm not even mentioning. And so there's examples of people that are on this team that have really done a great job, like I've mentioned, Adam, modeling the way. And then there's a lot of young guys that they got a lot of confidence to just be able to go cut it loose and play. And that's what I want to be able to see from our team. And we're excited about this op for sure.
What do you remember about your interview with Raheem?
My interview?
When you interviewed him?
Will you take the job? In terms of when I interviewed him to be the DC, it was basically, how about don't go to Jacksonville and come be with us here. So, no, here's what I remember, Sarah. We've been so close for such a long time. Our friendship started my first year in coaching. He always had such a unique way about leading. The guy's never had a bad day in his life, and then you get around him and you're thinking, yeah, you can't be like this all the time. And you're like, holy, he really is like this all the time. And he's just got such a great just energy that's so authentic. He can be demanding on people. He's just such a great person. He's got such an incredible high capacity for this game and the ability to be able to teach in a digestible manner. I can't say enough good things about him in terms of what he's meant to me. He's been like a big brother. And to be able to have somebody that's been here for the last 3 years that's done such a great job leading, that, you really enjoy doing this and you love his family and you get to know them over the course of years. And then when you go through some of the challenges and some of the incredible experiences that we've been able to share, it just makes you appreciate it that much more. But he is a phenomenal leader, a great coach, a great friend. And, I can't say enough good things about him. But what I remember is as soon as we were able to get him on board, there was an immediate excitement from everybody that he touched in this building, whether it be players, coaches, staff, and he's got that magnetism about him where you're just saying something's different about this guy, and he's really special.
Since we last talked to you Wednesday, we asked you about Pete Carroll.
Mm-hmm.
Since that time, Bill Belichick and then also Nick Saban.
Yeah, amazing.
I know that those two are both huge influences on you, schematically and professionally.
Yep.
When the news hit, what was your reaction, and what is your sort of thought on all of that?
I think all of these guys, you talk about the consistency is the most impressive thing, and the competitive stamina that Coach Belichick had. I don't know Coach Saban too well, but I have tremendous respect for him from afar. What he's done is undeniable. I've had a little bit of interactions, but he's as good as it gets, and his resume speaks for itself. And then, Jake Peets worked with him, and I've heard so many great things, and a lot of the things that he shared that they did, it's like, oh man, we should implement that. With Coach Belichick, he has been so great to me. You start in this business and, you're a fan of the coaches, and I had such respect and admiration. And then obviously it was a really humbling experience in the Super Bowl in 18, but the relationship that we've been able to develop, the way that you can almost feel like he's done so much for this game that it almost felt like, he was giving back to the game with the information that he shares and how he's always treated me. And that sure means a lot, but just the amount of the work capacity, the consistent stamina that he's had, the way that he's been able to develop players, coaches, and people around him. And then, the results are one thing, but it's just the consistency over time. And then you talk to Ryan Wendell and you talk to Nick Cayley and the people that, Shane Waldron, that have really worked with him year in and year out, and the admiration, but, just how impressive everything that he can do and that he's done and that he still does it at such a high level. It's the game is better for these guys, and really a lot of the same things for Coach Carroll. But these guys are what make the game special in terms of from a coach's perspective, and I know they love it. And this game has really been good to me, and I appreciate the way that those guys have been towards me as well.
They're going to replace him with Jared Mayo. So how does it feel?
All right, no longer the youngest anymore, huh, Gary? We can finally drop that damn narrative.
To lose that mantle, I know you're joking about it, but really, I think you kind of open the door for younger coaches it seems to me, that to get opportunities, head coach opportunities. So, do you feel at all like a pioneer or that,
no.
In doing that?
No. You look at it, Kyle was hired the same year that I was. You look at, there's a lot of other guys that are dependent upon where you draw the line of what you consider youthful. I was certainly really young. 30 was young. That's crazy when you think back. Sometimes I look at Mr. Kroenke, I say, what the hell were you thinking, man? But, what you do is you have respect for this game, and you don't take lightly what a blessing it is to be in these positions. And so one of the most rewarding things is when you're a part of a good thing here and other people get an opportunity that I was so fortunate to be afforded, 7 years ago. Kevin Demoff said it was the 7-year anniversary today. And, that's what's special. But I grew up, my grandfather, his history with this game is why I got into it and why I've been so fortunate to get the positions that I've gotten. And I'd never have forgotten that. And then you always want to make sure that you're doing right, and you have respect for people that have done it for a long time, but you don't take lightly, the opportunity to work with players, to work with coaches, to try to do right. And so I've never looked at it as like a pioneer thing, as long as just making sure, man, what a blessing it is. And you guys know there's been times where I've taken it for granted, and I don't ever want to go back to that place. But I do know that a lot of the opportunities that have been afforded to me in particular are because of my family legacy. And then as a result, I got a really unique opportunity to be around some special coaches at an early age, the Gruden family, the Shanahan family. My grandfather's experience with Mike Shanahan is why I was able to get on at Washington at such a young age. And, his experience is why I got on with Tampa. My grandfather's previous experience is why I got on with Tampa with the Grudens and with Bruce Allen. And so all of those things. I just, sometimes you sit there and it's almost embarrassing, but you want to do right by the profession because of, how much it means in terms of this game and what coaching really means to try to, uplift and elevate people.
That Super Bowl had such a significant impact, the loss had such a significant impact on you, but what was it about you, and then what was it about Bill that you guys developed a professional and a friendship?
Yeah.
Even after that was so altering for you.
Well, I think I was, it was more of, you just felt there was a willingness. I got connected with him through Jed Fish, and Jed's a close friend of mine. What an amazing job he did. But, we got connected, and I was just so, grateful for how willing and open he was when we first ended up spending some time together. And, there was obviously a lot of respect on my end, but there was just a willingness to share and to answer questions and provide a perspective that nobody but him really can provide. And so that was something that I always appreciate. And he's been consistent with that throughout. And so I've just enjoyed, the interactions that have occurred. I can't speak for him, but it's been a special thing. And I'd be surprised if he's not still coaching because of, the way that he does it at such a high level. I am hoping that. Okay. Thanks, guys.